You know, the one thing that I don't like about my wife's Tesla is that my legs sweat all over these fucking seats. She has like the leather interior, and it's it's too much for me. It's too much. Like even with the AC blowing nonstop, it's over 100 degrees right now. Like, what's the actual temperature? It is 106 right now. And I don't even know what the real feel is because we've had some humidity the past couple of days, which is kind of rare. It's a very dry state, but we've had humidity the past couple of days, and it has been obnoxious. It makes me realize why I moved out of a state that has a lot of rain in it. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the rain when it's here, but like just the in between effect of like afterwards and before it rains, I hate that residual humidity. And the more muscle you have, the bigger pain in the ass it becomes. You think fat people sweat? No, people with muscle sweat. Like, I sweat when I eat. Like, I sweat like all the fucking time. And in this Tesla, these seats with there being like a leather material just like sitting against my skin the entire time I'm driving. Like I said, I have the AC on full blast and I'm just still pouring sweat the entire time. I guess it doesn't help that I'm wearing a hoodie like a fucking idiot, but you know what? That's how I like to work out. I like to start off warming up in my hoodie, and I like to just get my body like real warm, and yeah, and that's just the way I prefer it. So then I got to get the pump, take that off, show that way everybody thinks I look like that all the time. You know how the deal is. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been doing some reflecting too. I think I'm gonna probably take a trip back to Michigan. I guess about time I go and see my family. I have not actually visited my family since my cousin passed away, which is a very touchy subject for me because my cousin to me was like my brother. Um, but yeah, I think it's about time. It's like I feel like I'm Italian, and my entire life I've had like family gatherings and like just a lot of camaraderie with all of the like interfamily relationships that kind of manifest as a result of cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff like that, right? And you don't realize it until you start to miss it for many years, that it kind of gave you something that is kind of hard to replace. So I'm feeling like I should go back and I should visit some family. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where my headspace is right now. And also, I'm looking forward to this workout. Let's change the subject before things get a little too emotional. Let's talk about today's workout. I had to take Monday off, so last time I trained was Sunday, and that's the last video that I made was when I trained legs. And now I am about to train some chest today, maybe touch on a wee bit of shoulders and triceps. It is much busier today than it was Sunday when I filmed, so we will see how much I can get without being a nuisance to other people, because I don't like to be the asshole that sets my tripod up in the middle of the aisle and talk while everybody else is trying to walk around me. I don't mind to do that, but I just prefer not to. So I'm going to train some chest today, a little bit of triceps and shoulders, maybe too on top of that. Very excited. The stuff inside this gym, guys, is just incredible. It's like it's really nice to be able to maneuver around an environment where if you take somebody who's like not experienced with like lifting weights and you put them in this environment, they're going to feel like they're drowning. There's so many different types of pieces of equipment that are just like, if you don't understand mechanics, like basic mechanics of how muscle works, you're going to say, what the hell does this machine do? It looks like a torture device. But I'm like a kid in a candy store, and I'm very excited. I've been literally waiting all yesterday to get back in here and start training again. But you really got to be conservative when you're trying to build muscle when it comes to like training volume throughout the week, because you're just not going to recover, especially when you train hard. I don't film all of my sets. I just film like a few of them when I'm training. But when you push yourself to that level of intensity, you need a day or so to recover at least, especially when it comes to training something big like legs. So I'm excited to get back in there today. Can't wait. Kid in a candy store. I need to get out of this Tesla right now because I'm sweating bullets, and this is just getting disgusting. So I will see you in there. Trying to find how to situate myself here to film this little talking piece. It's an awkward machine to stand in. Anyway, what I like most about the standing chest press, I feel like it's easier to position, to be honest.
I don't like when weight's like directly on top of me. You know, it just kind of feels like if you have any type of instability in your shoulders and weight sitting directly on top of you and your joints are completely locked out, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like you have a high potential for injury. But with this one, being in a standing position, it never feels like the weight's like directly on top of me, like gravity's pulling it down. So it just feels a lot smoother. And a couple of cues I like to think about is when I'm doing any type of pressing motion, I try to displace my body from the weight. So what I mean by that is I'm pushing my back into the seat actively while I'm trying to push my arms out. And that's to prevent a couple of things. I want to keep my spine straight so I don't get any type of curvature to it. But the second thing it does, also on top of that, is when I'm trying to push away from me, a lot of people will have a propensity to also bring their shoulders forward and collapse their chest, right? But if I'm trying to think about pushing my back into the seat, it takes that movement out because we don't want to protract the shoulders. The second we do that, we're going to load the serratus muscle, which is going to take stress completely out of the chest. And you're going to feel a lot of it build up inside the shoulder joint. So again, try to think about pushing yourself into the seat, and then also making sure you're keeping that spine nice and tall so you can fully stretch the chest. So I'm going to do a set here. Oh, fuck. Whew. Oh, fuck. Check this fly machine out. This is fascinating. It has like a natural, like ergonomic curve to the back, so you actually open up and splay the chest. And it's different because if you're like arcing on a flat bench, you have a lot of negative space under your spine. And although powerlifters do that, it's not ideal for bodybuilding. So you need something to support your spine to push against it. That way you can fully stretch your chest. And what I like about this is the backing of the seat, I don't know if you can see, actually has a curve to it. And that curve supports my spine and allows me to also open up that whole thoracic cavity, the inner part of my upper spine, so I can actually get a full stretch in my chest. And what I like about this is it's a machine that's plate loaded and it's coming into a fly. And the arms have the ability to vary distance, kind of like on a traditional fly machine. But the difference is the angle. It's lying and it's on a slight incline. And I'll generally do like some type of like dumbbell, like chest fly after I'm doing my pressing motions. But a couple things that I don't like about that is it has no track. It has no like finite range that it keeps me within. So if I start to get fatigued during my reps, even if I try to have perfect form, there is still a chance that I can slip, make a mistake, and cause an injury. This machine will lock me into a track, so I don't have that much freedom. So therefore I can focus more on isolation. I'm not worried about stabilizing the weight the heavier I get with it. So I can actually increase the weight load on this machine and I don't have to worry about that. Another thing when you're doing flies is you have to focus on weight being on the thumb side of the hand. And why? Well, supination, like when you turn your pinky towards the ceiling, engages your bicep. And if I'm doing a fly and weight's on the pinky side of my hand, I'm going to engage my biceps. So when I'm coming backwards into a fly motion, if the weight's on the pinky side of my hand, I'm going to feel everything pulling from my shoulder and bicep itself. So if you want to limit that as much as possible, when you're doing a fly, make sure you keep it on the L side of your hand right here, on the thumb and also the index finger. And that'll keep more stress on the chest and less on the bicep. Okay, so we have like an independent Smith machine here. It's very interesting. This is like a incline chest press or shoulder press, depending on where you want to put the seat level. And the arms move individually, but it's on a Smith machine, so it's kind of like on a fixed column. So if you want to do any type of like incline pressing, but you have like asymmetry in your shoulders, like maybe one shoulder sits higher than the other, and when you're pressing with a barbell, it's causing you to load more on one side than the other. This machine can be a great alternative. Now, I know most of us probably don't have access to this inside the gym. This is sure as hell the first time I used it, but it feels fantastic. You know, because what I like about the Smith machines is it does fix you into like stability, so you don't have to worry about constantly trying to stabilize your weights. So if you have you with dumbbells, or even if you're on a fixed barbell and the grip's too isolated and your shoulders are asymmetrical, it's not going to feel the same. You're going to load one side more than the other, and that can hurt your shoulders. What I like about this is it's on a fixed column, so I can actually push into the machine as well. So I'm doing a couple sets of chest press here, but I'm also doing shoulders today. So I'm putting it at high incline so I can warm them both up. So let me show you how this works. You pick this up and you unrack these, and you just kind of find your placement with them. And then you go for your press. Ooh. All right, so we got like some sort of like French press slash skull crusher machine for like an overhead tricep exercise here. And this is interesting. I've only ever seen something like this, like cable driven. This one's actually plate loaded. And what this is we have a little mechanism where I can push down with my feet right here that you can't see because it's not on camera. But that actually will offset the arm so I can grab it because it's too far behind my head. But this is going to allow me to actually get like a full stretch in my tricep all the way overhead toward that real long head. And it actually feels pretty good. I didn't expect it to because I have a little bit of asymmetry in my arms, but this motion actually feels like a pretty good stretch. And the more I anchor and pinch my shoulder blades, the more stability I have in this motion because the back of the triceps actually connected to the shoulder blade. So if I can keep it pinned against the seat, I can actually stretch it, get all the way deep in that pocket. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. 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 Whew. It's nice to have some new toys to play with too when it comes to the arms because they've always been a stick point for me. I've always had a hard time growing them. I don't know if it's just because of the shape or it's because I got like really long muscle bellies. I mean, you'll see some people when they ball up their bicep, it looks like a little fucking softball. With me, I've always had a hard time because I have really short connective tissues and my bicep goes like really deep to my elbow. It goes all the way up to my arm. So the connective tissue is small, the muscle belly is long. It doesn't ball up as much when I'm squeezing. So therefore, like when I'm posing it, it doesn't look that great. So it's nice to have some toys that I can play around with to help expand the size of my arms because I've always had a hard time growing them. And this will definitely help with the tricep development because that's certainly a department I can use some assistance on. Felt pretty good. So I'm going to add a little bit more weight to that. I'm going to go up here. Ugh. 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 Five. Exhale. 7. Ugh. No. Oh, that almost ate shit there. My hand was sweating. It fucking slipped off that handle. 149 degrees. 149 degrees inside my car right now. And I actually have to sit on my hoodie because the seat gets so hot it literally burns my ass. That was a great workout. So I tried to get as much as I could, but I had 3 people that came up and talked to me during my session. In that gym, I've been asked probably about 3 to 4 times already if I'm a pro. And I'm like, well, thank you for the compliment, but no, I'm nowhere close to being a pro competitor. But I enjoy the compliments. Everybody in the fitness community and space is very friendly to their own kind. It's kind of like when you go to a dog park, you'll notice all the same dog breeds like kind of hanging out together. Well, when you go in this gym, if you're a competitor and you're a bodybuilder, it's like people will just come up to you and just, kind of make you feel welcome, But yeah, it was a great workout. Fantastic pump. It's funny. I'll work out until I stop sweating sometimes. And it's a bad habit because I feel like I'd probably grow even faster if I just kind of cut my workout volume a little bit shorter, like during my session. But I just start to enjoy myself. And I was doing those overhead tricep motions, and I feel like it definitely broke up. I feel like I have some adhesions like in my fascia, which means like some of the tissue gets really tight and bound up and it's not releasing. In the back of my triceps. I've always had a hard time doing tricep motions, and I feel like those overhead motions like stretched the hell out of it. It felt like I was almost getting like Gratson technique done, which is where people kind of like scrape the fascia and the tissue. Man, it really broke that up because I feel like my elbows kind of released from doing that, which is very strange. So yeah, I'm done with the workout. A couple other things that I did. Let's see. I did a standing lateral raise. I did a machine press. I didn't film. I did a dipping machine too. I did a couple variations of dips. I was really wedged into a corner. At one point, there was probably like 6 people like in this tiny corner. So I couldn't really film some of the movements. But the dip motion felt very good. I always like doing like a seated assisted dip motion, or not assisted, a seated plate loaded dip motion or a pin loaded dip motion, where it drives my elbows back into extension. And you could see that my chest actually stretches a lot during this exercise. And the key that I keep in mind there is I'm trying to train a part of my chest that's real deep in there called your pec minor. And that requires you to elevate your shoulder frame and depress it down and push it like kind of like towards your hips. And that's a part of the chest that's very highly neglected, and it gets really tight with bad posture. So I always make sure that I try to do that because it adds like volume and thickness to the chest coming out. So if I had to pick probably 3 motions for chest, it'd be some variation of press, probably like a flatter press. Then I would do a fly, and then I would do a dip. And that would pretty much encompass the majority of my chest itself. So those are the 3 primary motions that I did today. And then, like I said, for the shoulders, I hit a pressing motion. I did a high incline chest pressing motion. In tandem, it also trains the front of your shoulders because a very high incline press will target both the upper chest and the shoulders together. So I like to do those 2 together in synergy. And that pressing motion with the Smith machine with the independent handles just felt fantastic. And then I did a couple of tricep exercises. I just did some overhead stuff, and that finished up my workout. I was going to do cardio, but I decided not to do that today. I actually have to stop at Whole Foods real quick or my wife's going to kill me. I was supposed to go yesterday, but I didn't. So today I got to go run over to Whole Foods, grab a couple of things. Namely, one of them is dark chocolate. That's like our treat that we have like at nighttime with our dinner. And if I don't get any dark chocolate, I will probably get screamed at. I'm just letting you guys know in advance. If I were to not go there, you would not see me be filming another video. I would be dead. So I'm going to stop there, grab a couple of quick things, and then that'll be it for the day. And then I'll just finish up with editing this and posting it. And, hopefully you got a little bit of value from today. I'm going to try to film all my workouts moving forward, not just one here and there. So I'm getting really excited too. I feel like I'm sitting at 231-ish pounds right now, and this is the leanest I've been, around 230. I'm very excited because with this new equipment and with this new atmosphere, energy, and drive, and also I think with this like new approach to competition, because I've already competed once in Arizona, I'm just very excited to get back into the scene and really see what I can craft and bring to the stage this time. So that's going to be it for this one. A little chest and shoulder wrap up for you, and I will see you on the next one.